Well, it's certainly been a violent holiday season this year in the prison system, with two horrific stories coming out right during Christmas. The biggest story is, of course, about Robert Brooks, a prisoner in New York who was killed by the guards, and all of that was captured on body cam footage. Interesting, that took place on December the 9th. Robert Brooks would die on December the 10th, and it's just now coming out, and everybody is calling for justice. We are definitely going to talk about that here today. That's the big story that we have to cover. But there's also another story that's not getting anywhere near the recognition this particular story involving Robert Brooks is getting, and that involves the killing of a prison guard on Christmas Day in Ohio. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to save that story for another video because I don't want to take away from either story, and I also don't want to make this super long. It's interesting to note that the Robert Brooks situation has garnered national attention, so much, in fact, that when I try to find the story involving the guard that was killed in Ohio, I really got to search for it, because when you search prison guard killed, well, of course, everything that's popping up first is about Robert Brooks. And, of course, that's the big story right this second, because there is the body cam footage that shows multiple guards beating this guy up to the point that he would lose his life, all the while he was in custody, all the while he was handcuffed. There is no body cam footage that I know of that's been released involving the Ohio prison guard. But nonetheless, today we're going to focus on Robert Brooks. This is a huge story. A lot of people want to see me cover this story. A lot of people have asked that I do so. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. We're going to share a video that I ran across on TikTok that really showcases the body cam footage and what took place.
Footage released showing corrections officers beating a handcuffed inmate to death. We want to warn you, the video is graphic. New York's Attorney General shared the video yesterday and called what happened shocking and disturbing. Here's NBC's Sam Brock.
Newly released shocking video shows these correctional officers fatally beating an inmate, Robert Brooks. The footage, blurred and redacted by state authorities, shows off.
You know, this does not look good at all. You've got multiple officers attacking this prisoner who is handcuffed. And I mean, this one guy right here got his foot all up on Robert Brooks. I mean, kicking him, assaulting him.
Those officers repeatedly kicking and punching Brooks in the legs and chest and trying to jam an object down his throat. New York's Attorney General says Brooks was pronounced dead December 10th, a day.
Okay, real quick, I do need to make mention of the fact that they said they were trying to shove an object down Brooks's throat. I don't know what led up to this encounter between Brooks and these guards. I don't know if that's been mentioned or not. If it has, and you know, comment down below and let us all know. But by the mention of them saying they were trying to shove an object down his throat makes me feel like maybe this had something to do with the pack smuggled contraband that they felt like this guy had swallowed. Maybe they were trying to get him to throw that up.
After these interactions with correctional officers was recorded.
I do not take lightly the release of this video.
James says the video doesn't have audio because the officers involved failed to properly activate their body cameras. It begins.
I don't understand that statement neither. The video doesn't have audio because they failed to properly activate their body cam. Like, what do you have to hit record and then hit record for the audio as well? That's the silliest thing I've ever heard of. And I think that that's a lie. I don't know any camera equipment. I mean, unless you're using separate audio, I would imagine that body cams have audio built in. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
With Brooks being carried inside, handcuffed and face down. He's then raised up, face bloodied, and punched in various parts of his body. Brooks was serving a 12-year sentence for stabbing his girlfriend. His attorney says his death is incomprehensible.
Look at this.
I was there with Mr. Brooks' son and his father and his brother. They all watched the video as well, and I think it was just the overwhelming shock. It was just felt so incomprehensible.
NBC News has not been able to reach attorneys for the 14 people under investigation, but the president for the Correction Officers Benevolent Association adding in a sharply worded statement, the egregious and repugnant action of the officers who committed this heinous and fatal assault does not in any way reflect the values of the vast majority of correction officers, including my members.
Yeah, that's tough to see right there. They showcased the lawyer for the family of the victim who was serving a 12-year prison sentence. We're going to talk about all of that, but they showcased the lawyer who is a white lady. And I don't mean to bring race into this, but it is an interesting thing to me that this family is not being represented. And forgive me because his name is eluding me. The big wig black guy lawyer who represented the likes of the Floyd family and so many others who were black individuals killed by white officers. I'm quite certain he may get involved in this, or maybe there's a reason why he doesn't. I don't honestly know. What I will tell you is this. Make no mistake of it, hey, these guards, they're going to prison. There's no doubt about that. They're getting a murder charge. There's no doubt about that. Maybe they plead guilty to some lesser crimes like involuntary manslaughter or something like that. But make no mistake of it, they're getting locked up. 14 people involved in this situation. Now, obviously, there were not 14 people in that video being shown beating Robert Brooks, but they were implicating even the people who were just standing around. It said guards and staff members were implicated in this situation. The video begins with Brooks being brought in, hogtied, carried by his arms and his legs into medical. Where was he coming from? Where did this situation first begin at? Again, with the mention of them trying to shove something down his throat, it makes me think, I don't want to say anything because it would just be a speculation. This could have been a case where, and I'm going to anyways, I guess, they were trying to search his cell. Maybe somebody told on him for contraband. He tried to smuggle that, and maybe they saw him do that. I don't know, but what they did was absolutely wrong, and yeah, man, they're going to pay for it, and not only are they going to pay for it, the state's going to pay for it as well, too, because make no mistake of it, the family is getting paid, and how much money are they going to get? Millions. You know that they are. I question, was the family of Robert Brooks involved throughout his incarceration? I only mention that to play devil's advocate. Could you imagine if they weren't? Nobody writing, calling, picking up the phone, coming to visit. But all of a sudden, Buddy gets killed in prison. And here they are. I don't want to make any speculations of that. It would be my hope that this guy did have the support of his family. And I do sympathize with them over what has taken place. But we also have to mention what Robert Brooks was incarcerated for. I mean, we need to cross all T's and dot all I's here. He was serving a 12-year sentence for a stabbing charge that involved his girlfriend. I read a comment where somebody said he stabbed his girlfriend in the neck and somewhere else. I'm actually going to share this comment with you. And it's a shit comment to a certain degree, but maybe there's some truth to it. Someone's baby, in quotations. Robert Brooks stabbed his girlfriend in the neck and back. Let's not pretend he was a saint for dying unjustly. It's a double-edged sword. On one hand, hey, this guy is a villain who had his own victim, and he was serving his time for that. Was 12 years enough? It doesn't even matter. Whatever the case is, he was doing his time. And while doing his time, he deserved to live. He didn't receive a death sentence, but yet he died in custody solely at the hands of the correctional staff and other staff who just stood around and did nothing. Nobody did anything. They just watched. And nowadays, that seems like that's all anybody does. I don't want to mention any other stories that come to mind, but it's just crazy. People would rather just watch and film, and in this case, they didn't have to because we had body cam footage, than to step in and do anything. What a world that we live in. How much money do you think this family's going to get for this? How much time do you think these guards are going to get? I'm going to jump out on a limb here and say they're going to get, 5 to 10 years. If they get anything more than that, I won't be surprised, but I'm just giving you my guesstimation because at best that's all I can give you. They're going to be charged with murder, whether that's first degree or second degree. I don't know how New York does it. And then they're going to take a plea deal because there's no way you're going to be able to beat this. Okay, this was not self-defense. This guy was helpless. He was in handcuffs. That is going to be the most damning piece of evidence, along with the fact that this thing is recorded. Again, why no audio? Your guess is as good as mine. I want to read from a story just to see if we can get any more details on this situation. This story is from the Independent news publication. Obviously, every news organization is covering this. This is national news right now. Guards in fatal New York prison assault of Robert Brooks were accused of beating inmates before. Oh, these were the goon squad for real. They might get more than 5 or 10 years hearing that. 3 New York correction officers allegedly involved in the beating death of an inmate while he was in handcuffs had been previously accused of similar attacks, a new report reveals. The inmate, 43-year-old Robert Brooks, died on December the 10th, a day after the incident at the Marcy Correctional Facility in upstate New York. If anybody knows anything about that facility, if you served time there, comment down below and let us know what it was like serving time there. Sort of sounds like you got a lot of guards there who are on power trips, given what's just taken place with this guy, Robert Brooks. 2 of the correctional officers and a sergeant implicated in Brooks' death were previously named in a federal lawsuit filed by inmates. I wonder how that lawsuit played out. Was it dismissed? Oftentimes when inmates file lawsuits, they are. The suits accused the guards of the attacks that left one man disfigured and another in a wheelchair. We're not just talking about roughing you up a little bit. We're talking about permanent lifelong disabilities caused at the hands of the guards. What exactly is the job of a correctional officer? Obviously to keep the prison running and, to do other things as well. But, I imagine, and I don't know, that a part of a correctional officer's job is to provide safety to some degree for the inmate population, not to be a part of the violent problem, the problem of violence, which it certainly sounds like these particular guards were just that. Katie Rosenfield, a lawyer for one of the victims, criticized the New York State Department of Corrections and Community Supervisions for fighting her client's lawsuit for 4 years. So they haven't thrown it out. They've just buried it. The fact that they failed to rein in these officers that they knew had beaten someone else is a direct contributor to Mr. Brooks's death, Rosenfield told the Times. Let me tell you something. All of this is just adding up to more millions that the Department of Corrections is going to end up paying out. In a statement on Friday, Daniel Something, the state's corrections commissioner, vowed to address the issue. Oh, now you want to address the issue. It is not enough to simply condemn this horrific act and then go back to business, he said in a statement on Friday. Institutional change must follow. Sorry to laugh about that, but I always just smell the bullshit from a mile away, so to speak. Why does it have to take, I guess that's with anything in life, the worst happening before change actually comes? But the crazy thing is there was this previous lawsuit implicating these four of the officers who were involved in this situation. And if you think about that, there was a previous lawsuit and then there was this Robert Brooks situation. What else have these 4 horrible corrections staff members gotten away with that hasn't been documented? The new report comes after New York Attorney General Letitia James on Friday released shocking body cam footage of the guards violently beating Brooks while he was in handcuffed with his hands cuffed behind his back for about 20 minutes. They are seen beating him on his head, chest, and genital area in a medical examination room, with one of the officers hitting him with a shoe. He died the next day. Brooks, 43, had been serving a 12-year prison sentence for first-degree assault in 2017. According to the Corrections Department, James' office opened an investigation into Brooks' death on December the 16th. Since the incident, one correction officer has resigned and 13 others have been suspended without pay. New York Governor Kathy Hochul called for all the individuals involved to be fired over the fatal beating. According to the lawsuits, alleged assaults by the same guards revealed similar details to Brooks' attack. In February of 2020, corrections officers allegedly beat inmate Adam Bauer in a bathroom at the Marcy prison and then accused him of attacking them. Boy, that's the scary thing about being a prisoner. You got no win. They're going to do what they want to do to you and get away with it by saying it was your fault. You started it. One of the officers was named as Nicholas Azalone, who is also accused in the assault of Brooks. Bauer claimed he was walking out of the bathroom stall and about to light a cigarette with a battery. When a guard stopped him, the officer ordered him to stand against the wall for a frisk and then began punching him in the head until he fell to the floor. To cover up the assault, the lawsuit claims the officers lied. They told a nurse he had harmed himself. Then, after being transferred to a hospital, they claimed another inmate had attacked him. Oh, man. This is certainly sounding like a place you don't ever want to be serving no time at. When he was back in the prison, he was sent to solitary confinement on false disciplinary charges for 60 days until a prison official reversed the decision. The inmate's lawyer said the Corrections Department Office of Special Investigations looked into the accusations, but ultimately found that the force was necessary and reasonable to get Bauer to comply. Look at him, all covering up for each other. They're going to back the blue. The badge backs the badge. She added that the officers were never interviewed by investigators. Later that same year, Sergeant Glenn Trombley and Officer Anthony Farina, two guards implicated in the beating of Brooks, were involved in the assault of another inmate, William Alvarez, according to a lawsuit. Alvarez was cleaning the bathroom when an officer pepper sprayed him without provocation. According to his lawsuit, he was ordered against the wall and an officer slammed his head repeatedly as he was cuffed. The three officers kicked him in the head and body before dragging him into a van and taking him to the infirmary, similar to Bauer's attack. Alvarez, like Bowers, was accused of attacking the guards and held in solitary confinement for 60 days. He is now permanently disfigured. And that's quite a bit more information to hear about right there. How do you stop things like this from happening? I mean, sadly, you need to put cameras everywhere because you can't take people's word for it. And in a place where so much corruption and violence at the hands of staff is taking place, man, you need cameras everywhere. They need body cams running 24/7 in this place. And they really need to do some house cleaning in terms of these guards that they've got working at this particular prison. You know, I don't know anything about being a guard or working in a workplace with, you know, like what it would be like in a prison, but I got to imagine that there's a culture that gets developed amongst the staff in terms of how to handle the prisoners. And it sounds like this culture has developed into a power trip, and you're going to do exactly what I tell you, exactly when I tell you, or else we are going to F you up. Permanent disabilities and disfigurement, wheelchairs, and then the death of Robert Brooks. Yo, this place needed to be investigated long before this incident. No matter how you feel about the individual Robert Brooks and the charges that he was serving time for, again, this man was not sentenced to the death penalty. He didn't deserve to die in prison, and make no mistake of it, his family is getting paid because of this. And them guards, hey, back the blue all you want. Blue backs the blue, you know. Hey, the badge, man. The badge goes for the badge. But when the ship is sinking, hey, and the cat's out of the bag, yo, best believe Y'all about to take one for the team. They gonna make martyrs of y'all. Yeah, they are. Maybe 5 to 10 years is nothing in comparison to what these guys get. Or maybe they don't even get that much time. I'll be curious to see where this story leads. You guys let me know what you think of this situation. And a sad story that I wanted to bring to you guys. But again, it's definitely been a violent holiday season this year in the prison system, with another situation involving a prison guard who was killed on Christmas Day as well. If you haven't heard about that story, definitely go look that one up, and I'm going to try to bring that one to you real soon as well. Hey, look, I hope that this was a video you guys enjoyed. If it was, please leave a like and a comment on this, letting me know exactly what you thought about this. And as always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world, never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day. Peace!